the volume.
Turn up the volume.
You've arrived at the destination for all things Kentucky. This is the Bleed Blue Network Podcast.
Big Blue Nation, welcome back to the All UK Ball podcast. It's Bleed Blue. Rando here, joined like always, the number one on the team, KY Sass. How you doing?
Hey, how are you doing? I'm good.
Big week as we get closer to Kentucky football. We had a fan day, some live practices going on, seeing some great Twitter content out there, dropping dimes to bury on. We talked about that was going to be an electric 1-2 duo, and they are already from practice number one showing how lethal they can be.
Yeah, and then our teammate Elliot took some amazing photos we've been posting this week on our Twitter account. So if you have a chance, go check those out. They look really good.
Yeah, always good to see the Bleed Blue Network content and seeing those guys out there getting some good coverage and interviewing players. Makes me jealous that I'm out here on the left coast, but we'll be there soon enough. Looking forward to the season kickoff. Right, get to Lexington and
yes,
meet some of these guys. See you all, and we're gonna have a little Bleed Blue Network barbecue and a tailgate. And it's gonna be a good weekend to kick off the season. Unfortunately, not all good news. Sass, I know you got some information on the controversy that's surrounding Kentucky football.
Yeah, unfortunately, this week the news broke that the NCAA had leveraged some stuff against UK from the 2021 season. Players that were reportedly paid for working for work they actually did not work. Which is very unfortunate because those wins from that season have been or will be vacated, I should say. It's just a kind of a black smudge, I guess, on the record of Stoops and that season. That was an historically good season for UK, obviously, with Levis. So that kind of sucks. I don't know. I don't have the players' names or who's involved, obviously. But at the time, that was the rules. They had to do that, but now they've changed, obviously. So there's been some disgruntlement about why they're enforcing it now, 3 years later. But again, that's the NCAA for you, I guess, right?
Yeah,
take their time.
Another NCAA-ism where it's like, they move slow unless they don't want to move slow, and then all of a sudden they can find the personnel to sanction quickly if they need to. But
it's amazing how that works.
Yeah, definitely a black eye. I think it was good that it came out, confirmed that, you don't really know how they didn't know, but confirmed that the coaching staff didn't know. I believe I'm correct there. That was confirmed that,
yes. Yeah, they said they did not know. Again, I don't know how you don't know that, right? Like but I'm not diving into that nitty gritty, but yeah.
Yeah, that's not for us to get into. But, vacating the win sucks. I think it's good that we're not losing any. We're excited for the season. It would definitely be a bummer if they took away postseason play, which didn't happen. Vacating a bowl win also is unfortunate. But they can't take away the memories of that season, right? So we remember how awesome that season was, and the way Levis came in and really. That was another rebirth in Kentucky football. So they're not going to take that away from us. The wins-loss record will go down, but we'll remember how awesome it was to pack out.
It has definitely gave Louisville fans something to chirp about, though. They've been chirping. One bright spot in their life right now, right?
Yeah.
One bright spot in Louisville fans' life. They can chirp about something small. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
congratulations. Sure, the loss no longer there for Louisville, but we remember whipping that ass. We remember every in there and taking that tail. All right, so I ain't worried about it. But we're doing the series on highlighting some of the position groups, and we're going to get into O-line, running back, and tight end. Think that really gels well together. Obviously, O-line and running back. O-line and running back are a team that has to work well together for that run game to be successful. The O-line has a massive job in both the running and pass game, but we're going to lump the O-line and running backs together. And then the tight end is kind of weird because, you can put them with their receiver group. You can put them in as a pass blocker. But let's go ahead and do a three-headed monster here and dive in to them and how they'll work in both for tight ends, or how they work both in the pass and run game. But hey, we start off the episode with controversy, and when you talk about O-line, we instantly get into some controversy with Eric Wolford coming back, and I think I know he's a good coach. He's a good coach, but good grief, man, it was lacking
the way he left.
The
way he left, it was just so dirty.
It was. It was a move that I wouldn't make personally. But he has been successful in most places where he's gone, and he's turned around that offensive line. And right, wrong, or indifferent, if you spend some time in Alabama and you bring that resume to Kentucky, it's probably going to be beneficial. Right. I think you're always going to be, for Stoops, going to be looking over your shoulder and be like, all right, can I trust this bum? But
this bum.
Stoops says they have a good relationship and they go way back. So I think, I'm sure that conversation behind closed doors was like, listen, bud, you pissed me off.
Do it again. We're going to have a problem.
Yeah. You better be on a straight and narrow and bring me, you better tighten this O-line up, because it was definitely a weak spot on the team last year.
I would agree. I'm excited to get back to the Big Blue Wall, which is what UK was known for so long. Having the O-line, they won awards for being the best O-line in the nation. Like, that needs to come back to UK, especially with the squad we have this year, running backs and so on. We have got to get the O-line back to where it was.
Yes, and Wolford's the guy who could do that. So, looking back at his history, he was on the South Carolina staff from 2016 to 2019. That's really where he cut his teeth in the SEC. So before he got to South Carolina, in 2016, South Carolina allowed 41 overall sacks and 31 sacks in SEC play. After the first year, Wolford was there. So this is 2017. O-line allowed 18 sacks. And then in 2018, they only allowed 12.
Okay, that's good. That's improvement.
Much improvement from 31 to 12. And I was like, who was the quarterback? Because a lot of times the quarterback can skew that stat. If you have a mobile quarterback, that gets skewed. Their quarterback was Jake Bentley, not a mobile guy. All right,
who?
He is. This dude is a statue in the pocket. He had. I think he averaged 1.7 yards per rush. So not someone who you would consider a dynamic runner.
He was not moving.
No, he was not. So the quarterback run game did not skew those stats there. So an ability he showed Wolford to show an ability to take an O-line and really improve that unit. And then he does have a deep coaching background. He has some pedigree in the NFL. Was a coach for the 49ers. Now his 49ers team went like 5 wins and then 2 wins, so not great. But hey, he's got his NFL experience. I'm gonna go back in time a little bit. Go back 30 seconds ago in this podcast. I'd mentioned he was the O-line coach. I think he might have been assistant offensive coordinator. He had some other role as well in 2018.
Okay.
In 2018, do you know who played for South Carolina?
In 2018?
Yeah.
Wasn't it that defensive guy?
Well, I mean, at receiver. So.
Oh, no. All I knew about the defensive guy. Was it Clowney? Is that his name? Was he at South Carolina?
Yeah, Clowney,
or was he at Clemson?
Clowney was – Deebo Samuels played for South Carolina in 2018. Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm gonna ride that train for as long as I need to. That
you put it out there, you have to do it.
Yeah. We're gonna have somebody's going to play that Debo role in this. There's too many connections to this dude, and I want someone like that dynamic of a player, that role to be input in this offense just to make it electric and exciting and a nightmare for defenses. But getting back, all right, now fast forward, going back to where I was talking before. Yep. Part of his coaching pedigree for Wolford was he does have some head coaching at Youngstown State. Had some decent wins against NDSU, who is a FCS powerhouse. And then he was also part of the staff that stood up USF's South Florida's football program. I spent 3 seasons there. So something I didn't know. USF might be in my alma mater. I didn't know he was on that staff. But they had 2 winning seasons at USF, and USF's offense averaged 400 yards per game in years 2 and 3. So, clearly knows what he's doing as an O-line coach and turning a program around to getting that unit to generate some offense, which if your O-line isn't good, you're not going to generate any offense. So have faith that Wolford can do what he needs to do to bring back that big blue wall.
Yeah, no, I agree. We need that for sure. Like, we have to have faith in him at this point because he's back. He's back. So he left, came back, whatever. So he's here.
And he's back with the crew of returning guys and depth, which is massive. We got some unfortunate news that Rodriguez is retiring due to a back injury. So we definitely lose some depth there. Blessings to him that he can get healthy and continue a football career in some capacity. Obviously, that won't be as a player or whatever he chooses to do. But we still have Eli Cox, Marquez Cox. I would like to call them the Cox twins, even though they're obviously not related. And maybe what is it when they're not? They don't look the same. It's when
fraternal twins.
Fraternal? Yeah, they're
fraternal. Yeah. Fraternal Cox twins.
Yeah, just one. It's I'm going to roll with it. The Cox twins,
okay.
And then we got Jaeger Burton and Dylan Ray. So those are the 4 big names that are returning with big offseason additions in Jalen Farmer and Gerald Mincy. Farmer coming from UF and Mincy coming from UT, University of Tennessee.
We have a lot of good depth this year for sure. I think we've been missing depth.
Yeah, and with depth, you don't get competition, right? So if you don't have the depth, you can't have people actually going to battle every day for a starting spot. You got to roll with what you got. I look at the offensive line as most positions being solidified. I got Marquez Cox at the left tackle. I think Burton is solidified at that right guard spot. Eli Cox, obviously, him coming back and being the center is massive. And I think Mincy was brought in pretty much solidified as that right tackle spot. But I think the right guard spot is up for grabs between Jalen Farmer and Dylan Ray. I think those are the 2 really battling it out for that right guard spot. And Dylan Ray can play a swing guard too. So, potentially he gets put in a spot to, to be that depth piece if we do have some injuries or something like that. And then we also sit in there in that right guard spot is Chrisman, who was the Ohio State transfer, he spent some time out because of his knee injury. If he can get back healthy, he's a big body, strong downfield blocker who can compete for a starting spot too. So, having depth, having 3 dudes fighting for one spot is going to be, there's nothing wrong with it. It's only goodness when it comes to building a deep, very good, very strong, powerful, versatile O-line.
Yeah, and looking over the roster, because I have it pulled up here, I like that we have a lot of older guys, obviously, right? We have the experience on the team. And we also have some incoming freshmen that are big guys, too. Like, we have size in the backup. And as obviously, playing the SEC linemen in general are massive. Like, they're just huge compared to other programs. It's part of this, like SEC football. You have to have a big line, O-line especially. I see we've got a Malachi Wood, for instance. He's a 6'8", 320 redshirt freshman from Richmond. He played at Madison Central. That's a big boy. So we have backup in the future.
Hometown
too.
boy for me. Hometown boy for me.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Right
Yeah.
down the road from where I'm at. Madison always, not always, but Madison known for to produce some good talent. And you're talking about we didn't get into the depth piece for like the recruiting class, but freshman. Baby Mincy is there waiting in the wings to replace his brother. When he leaves, so definitely that. Well, and I glossed over this. I forgot, but you bring up a great point. While Wolford was at South Carolina, 247 ranked him as like a top 25 recruiter. So, that's good. That's obviously going to be great too when it comes to he can coach and recruit. So we got a top 25 recruiter on the O-line. We got, one of one recruiter in Big Dog. Like, keep
Dog,
building that. Yeah. Keep bringing those dudes who can bring in talent, both as, for freshman classes and also in the transfer portal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I'm excited to see him stick around and build the line from starting with these guys we have now and then bring people up to the ranks. Excited to see that grow with them.
Absolutely, I'm real big on an offense goes by way of the quarterback, and second to that is the O line. I truly believe it. Like you got to have a phenomenal. Not generational talent, but talented quarterback, and you have to have an O-line who can support him, and the rest will kind of fall into place. And when, quote unquote, the rest falling into place is, dudes like Barryon or, Chip Trainum, who we'll get into in a little bit. Like when you have talent like that who is falling into place after key positions. I mean, that's
only
why
good things happen.
Yeah, that's why we're so big on this season moving forward. So. Moving on, tight ends. All right, so a kind of extension at times of the O-line, depending on how they're used. We have two dudes who Kentucky fans know, very dynamic players. Probably my favorite player on the team is Jordan Dingle. I look at him and the gifts that he was given from the good Lord. Good grief. It
was unfair. It's unfair.
No, yeah. Talent and opportunity are not distributed equally from the good Lord above. I'm gonna tell you that one. It's just, some people got it, some people don't. We talked about speed and height last episode. Jordan Dingle was 6'4", 242, 6'4", 242, and has been clocked at a 4.640, 4.64 40 to be exact.
That's crazy. That's moving. That's moving.
That 242 pounds moving that fast. I tell you what, a cornerback, get him out in space, especially, or, blocking or even one-on-one, safety trying to guard him. You better go low. You better go low because if not, he's going to run your ass over. He is going to, get the blue tent ready. He's going to put you in the blue tent. You're going to be concussed. Something's going to hurt. He is he is an absolute stud, athletic freak. I watched some of his tape from when he played with Will Levis, and Will Levis used him way more than he got used last year with Leary, whether that was OC or that's quarterback preference or whatnot. But he can get out in space, and he runs a little upright, but he's 6'4", he runs a little upright, but who cares? Who cares? Like, cause he's getting downfield, and like I said, he's going to run somebody over. And the Clemson game, the bowl game, that play that he had, he's got in the double digits of explosive plays, which explosive plays are like 25 plus yards over the time that he's been with Kentucky. So he has the ability to explode. I think he needs to work on his blocking a little bit. I don't know how much they're working on with his, hand the ground 3-point stance, getting out and blocking and moving. But you can't tell me he isn't capable of pulling or getting in motion and being a elite blocker for this run game.
No, Dingle is talent insane. I think for tight ends, I I would love to see them more like used more on the offense overall to get yardage, right? I would love to see, like when I think of like tight ends, watching them play, like obviously they block and whatnot too. But then I think of like Gronk, right? And all those tight ends where you just throw them the ball and they're going to get it for you no matter what, right? Like that's how I would love to see tight ends at UK used. Because I feel like every time we do put the ball in Dingle's hands, good things happen like every time. Never fails.
Yeah, nope.
Never fails.
And
so
if you have a yes, the tight ends have to be used more. You look at offensive, look at offenses in the league that are successful. They all have a dynamic, versatile tight end. So you go back to you mentioned Gronk. Talk about George Kittle currently.
Yeah.
Travis Kelce probably is going to go down as the best tight end in the league ever. These dudes who can do both things, they can block and catch. They can run great routes. They can line up tight to line of scrimmage. They can line out in the slot, out wide. Having a dynamic tight end spreads the defense out and gives the offense more options. So it's great in the run game because you can't load the box. Or if you do bring them in tight, and have someone who can block or, slip out, boom, like they open up the screen game and stuff like that. There's these dudes, and I'm sure there's more if I can, Dalton Kincaid for Buffalo, right? These guys who can do it all, instantly open up the offense. And talk about wanting to get them more involved. I think we're going to see a lot of 12 personnel out of this team, which is running back, 2 tight end. Because you have someone like Josh Caddis, who again 6'4", 240, and is a 4'6", 40 guy himself. So, and Kentucky fans know Josh Caddis. The locker room really knows Josh Caddis pretty well. He's making a name for himself. In multiple ways on the field and off the.
I think of too, like you think of good college tight ends too, like Brock Bowers at Georgia, past couple of seasons. Yeah. Like he changed their offense, right? So he was one of their go-to guys, 100%. I want that for Dingle, Caddis, our other tight ends as well. Like I want them to be used like that. Another to be excited about. So another tight end coming in, Willie Rodriguez from Covcath.
Yeah,
he's a incoming freshman. Dude is so good. He's so good. Covcath has actually produced quite a few good tight ends past couple of years. But yeah, Willie, he's 6'4", 245 right now as a freshman. So he's a big guy too. He's only going to get better. He's 6'4", 245. If you haven't watched stuff on him, go look at it. He's good. He's good. So he is definitely, I would say, the future after Dingle and Caddis, just because, he's already got skills. He's already got size. So he is definitely named to kind of keep on your radar as he gets older and moves up the ranks. So.
Yeah. And he's going to be learning from a great staff and great players. Mm-hmm. With Dingle and Caddis is great in the run and pass block game, dynamic pass blocker, dynamic run blocker. And I think he's a match made in heaven for the Bush Hamden run game that's going to pull in motion tight ends to serve as lead blockers.
Yes.
And so when you talk about Dingle and Caddis and Rodriguez, it's going to be how do you get them all on the field, right? And who do you get on the field at what times? That's the biggest coaching decision there is like how do we make sure these players are getting on the field and they're all getting reps and sets. Which is tough if you got 3 dudes who can really play. It's going to be. But again, we just talked about
why to get paid that money, Rando.
That's right. They make those hard decisions, and sometimes they gotta hurt feelings, right? Sometimes it's a conversation of like, hey, this dude just got it more. He's just doing more. But going back to the O-line talk, right? Are you going to be mad at depth? You can't be mad at depth, and having dudes who are great talents. Bring all the depth we can. The biggest thing, though, going back to how do you play them is in this new world we're living in, it's great to get that talent in. Got to keep the talent.
Keeping the talent. Yeah. Especially with NIL and everybody just throw money around like it's candy lately.
Like Dingle was in the transfer portal. Gino was in the transfer portal, and I was, it's like, hey, you got to get this dude back. How do you get him back? And he came back, and he's going to have a big play in this offense. But stuff like that can be scary. Like, dang, we got this dude.
Can't lose him. Yeah,
and he's a Kentucky boy. Like, we got to keep him here. They were able to. So that's a definitely a new dynamic, a new aspect of, all right, we get talent, keep talent. How do you do that? How do you keep everybody happy?
Yeah. So, that's part of the struggle for coaches right now. And, Stoops did speak on it earlier this week as well. He's like, hey, this is exhausting. So I can only imagine what it's like. But yeah, that's just part of the coaching circle right now. If you get talent in, you have to figure out how to keep them.
That's right. So. But when it comes to the tight end room, I mean, Big Dog, Bush are going to have endless possibilities of how to get these guys the ball, how to get them in pass block, run block sets. I think they're going to have a lot of 12 personnel. And how that looks, whether it's, some of these guys line up in the backfield in that kind of fullback spot, or whether, we got someone lined out wide, or they're both tight to the line of scrimmage, multiple ways to hurt the defense and multiple different formations that we can run. And we can run some of the same plays out of different formations just to keep the defense guessing here too. Multiple an offense that is multiple is an offense that is a absolute weapon and a nightmare for defensive coordinators.
Which is what we like to hear as UK fans. Right. Give us a nightmare offense, please.
Boom. Hey, and I'm starting to get good at this podcast things. I just talked about multiple, and now I'm leading into someone who is multiple in his position, which is the running back, Chip Trainum. Hey, I'm figuring this thing out. I think I'm getting this thing.
We are excited about Chip. I don't know if you all have seen the pictures of him floating around.
Yoked up.
Dude is a beast, okay? Like,
thicker than grandmama's grits. This boy is thicker than grandmama's grits, man. I tell you what, he is huge.
Yeah, he is a big boy. But when you think of running backs we've had in the past, they've all been that way, right? Like, we've always had thick boy running backs that can get straight downhill, bust through a line, gain some yards, good touchdowns. Like, that's just the type of running backs that Stoops likes. The offense seems to flow well through them. So he fits right in the mold that we've always had at UK.
Yep. Yeah, Stoops has a make type model that he likes, right? Benny Snell, Rodriguez, Ray Davis, and now Chip. Dudes who can have speed, have versatility, but big booty dump truck guys who will just get downfield, right?
Dumpies.
Just thick lower body, and that's what he likes. And not only does Chip have that, listed at 5'11", 230, has a high 4.3, 4.4 speed. So my notes after looking at some of his film at Ohio State. Downhill runner who can break tackles and provide yards after contact. Got a great jump cut and lateral quickness. Only had 9 receptions, though, at Ohio State. But he did an interview with UK Athletics and said, hey, I'm here to be a 3-down back. Like, I'm working on my versatility to, get my hands right and to be able to be used where I don't have to come off the field. It doesn't matter what the down distance is. Like, I want to be in the game and being used as that.
But we love that,
Ray Davis.
We love a versatile
Ray Davis do that.
For sure.
Yeah, we saw Ray Davis make some incredible catches out of the backfield. Was super shifty.
One over shoulder that one time was crazy.
Yeah, he was absolutely. I mean, Ray Davis is going to have I think, phenomenal NFL career.
Agreed.
Having him on the roster last year and not having the season we expected was disappointing. Because he was a talent. He was a talent that we don't normally see in Kentucky or haven't seen, I guess, at Kentucky. So, That being said, though, Demi, I'm going to call you DSV just to make my life easier because your name.
I'll call you Demi. You're just Demi to me.
I like DSV, but 6 foot 210, 4.4 speed, patient runner, 14 receptions last year in that relief role for Ray Davis. And honestly, when I watch his tape and I look at where Bush came from, and he had Ashton Genty, Ashton Genty is a one-of-one talent. I mean,
he's different, yeah.
The things that he can do, I'm not comparing DSV to Ashton, but I am saying that he fits that that running back style that Bush had last year more, in my opinion, than Chip does. So I'm curious to see how they play them. And we talked kind of, quote unquote pre-show meeting before we jumped and started recording. And then, I think we need to be able to use these guys, not in maybe, I don't know if it's 50-50 split, 60-40, whatever the split is, but we saw what happens over the last couple of years when you have to feed one running back 20, 25, 30 carries a game, right? It just, for a whole season, it wears them down. And if we think we're going to be in a postseason type atmosphere with this new playoff, we got to be able to have our running backs have some fresh legs at the end of the season. So having
it's imperative,
having a running back room that is, you can feed these guys equally or as close to equally as possible. Or even we saw some last year where Ray Davis would just be out an entire series because they had to get him some blow. So
some rest.
Yeah. Maybe that's what they do here. Maybe it's more of a who we playing type thing. We talk about how that a lot of times matchups get changed up in basketball a lot. Maybe it's something like that. If it's who are we playing, what's the linebacker safety situation look like? And so this guy is going to get more. But, DSV had some film out of NC State against Texas Tech. And if you go watch that, I think he had 145, 150 all-purpose yards, patient runner, and but also can be explosive too. So he can sit back there, kind of move his feet, dance around like Le'Veon Bell of old, or he can just get downhill if he needs to. So very, very interesting. And then we got the freshman that's coming in. Who's definitely going to get some run because of what he brings to the offense. And that's Jason Patterson at 5'10", 206 as a freshman. And I think as his junior year out of the state of Florida, he led the high school in either all-purpose yards or rushing yards. So he's definitely got some talent that's going to come in. And I think he's going to get immediate play as a freshman.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like that. Our running back group has options, like you said, depending upon who we are playing potentially, right? So, like we had that before, but you said before it was one running back was that option, right? So we like Ray Davis last year carried the ball so many times. It was always Ray Davis, which don't get me wrong, he broke records, like great. But I love that we have options depending on who we play this year, so we can give defenses different looks with different players, shake things up a bit.
Yeah, it's going to be huge to have that depth. It's going to be huge to have dudes that I'll keep saying it. Competition breeds success, and having guys who are cohesive. They enjoy being around each other, but also have that friendly competition is gonna be big. We want to see guys celebrating each other on the sideline when one's successful. We also want folks hungry to get the ball. Like, okay, hey, Chip just scored. He just broke one loose. Chip just did this. Hey, now give me the ball, right? Let me go show you what I can do type thing. Yep.
Now. Yeah.
Yep. And whether that's game by game, whether that's series by series, whatever it is, I think we need to make sure we're giving these guys equal opportunity to be successful so that we don't wear down. Now, maybe one just stands out. Maybe Chip is this guy because we talked about football IQ last episode. Someone who played linebacker was on special teams, so he's got a massive football IQ, and he's very versatile. Obviously, be able to play multiple positions and then kind of solidify himself as a lead running back now. So maybe he's just head and shoulders better, and you got to feed him the ball as much as possible. Yeah. But watching DSV, I'm hard pressed to think he's there. You can't find a way to get him on the field and get him the ball.
Right, especially with his size and experience. I mean, he's also he's a big running back, like that
yes.
too. Like, and that's always helpful. He's just a big running back.
Yeah, I mean 6 foot 210. I'm 6 foot 210. I'm 6 foot 210. I ain't running a 4.3. Nope. I might get out quick. I might get out quick, but if I'm trying to run a 4.3, I'm blowing out hamstring, quad, Achilles. It's all getting torn up.
You're rolling to the line at that point.
Yeah, I live in that 4.5, 4.6 realm. Okay, that's right where I stay. I'm comfortable there. But all right, well, so we're 34 minutes into it. We covered 3 position groups. I think that's pretty good. Got some good detail going. hopefully building excitement for Big Blue Nation when it comes to the offensive side of the ball. That pretty much wraps up the offense. We're going to get into the defense next. I think we should hit cornerback and safety, and then we'll finish up with D-line and linebacker. So at least another 2 episodes highlighting this. Maybe we do one on special teams. Kicker coming back with experience is obviously big. So I guess we'll do that. We'll do three episodes. Yeah, you're pointing at me. Special teams doesn't mean nothing until he misses that kick or something that jacks up, and then we look at him.
And then the world is falling down, and people are like, "Who's this guy? Why is he doing this?"
Yeah, best, worst position in all of football. It's like you're a hero or zero immediately.
No in between.
Yep. So we got 3 more episodes to keep covering some football until kickoff of the season. I think it's going to be good for our souls as we patiently wait for August 31st. But Sass, remind everybody where they can find you on the X machine.
Yeah, you can find me and follow me at KYSass_. And what about you, Rando?
I am at All UK Ball. Make sure you're following us and Bleed Blue Network as we're going to continue to give you some practice coverage and post-practice interview coverage. Great. You mentioned Elliot. Great content coming from him. Great content coming from Ben as he does the graphic stuff. So we got a hell of a team as we lean into the football season. So follow us along. We'll get you the best news. And as always, go Cats.
Go Cats.
Thanks for joining us on another episode of the Bleed Blue Network podcast. We hope you enjoyed diving deep into the world of Kentucky sports with us. Don't forget to stay connected by following us on Twitter at BleedBNation. Your feedback means the world to us. So take a moment to leave a review. Not only does it help us improve, but it also helps others discover the show. Until next time, keep cheering, keep listening, and keep bleeding blue.